Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and on the screen is a Game Week 17 Wildcard draft. Now, I haven't made one of these videos in a while, simply because I think the past few game weeks the template has been quite strong, so it did not present a lot of advantage or upside for those of you still with your wildcard to use it then. But I think now in Game Week 17, there is a genuine opportunity for those of you guys still with your wildcard to gain an advantage over those who have used it already. So hopefully this video is helpful for those of you guys intending to use it now. And if you do enjoy it, please give it a like and also subscribe as well if you're new around here. Once again, shouting out the Christmas charity drive that we are doing on the channel. It's still ongoing and I will be making my final donation on Christmas. But if you've been watching my content all this while, or if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, all you have to do is subscribe by Christmas and I will be donating more money to charity. If you want more information on the charity drive, you can find it in the description down below. So before I jump into this draft and explain the keepers, the defenders, the midfielders, and the forwards that I've chosen, I think I want to just discuss using the wildcard in general for Game Week 17. So there are mainly three remaining windows that I think you can use your wildcard in. That's Game Week 17, Game Week 19, and Game Week 20. So the reason why I say that Game Week 18, even though it is still one of the remaining game weeks that you can use your wildcard before the first wildcard expires, I don't think that is a window. I don't think Game Week 18 is a window to use because there will be a blank for Manchester City and Brentford. And basically, if you're wildcarding during this period, looking at the Man City fixtures, they are very, very plump. So you would want to have one, maybe two, or even three Man City players. And in that case, if you are wildcarding in Game Week 18, you will not be able to have that many Man City players because they blank. So I don't think using it in Game Week 18 would make sense. So that leaves 17, 19, and 20 as I mentioned. I think the main difference between using it now in Game Week 17 versus using it in 19 and 20 is Haaland. So now you can see on the screen right now, the draft does not have Haaland. Obviously, the news has been going around that he has been nursing a little bit of a bone stress fracture. There is a lot of doubt and speculation as to whether he'll miss the Crystal Palace game. And then in Game Week 18, he blanks. And he could be a doubt for Game Week 19. We don't really know. He could return then as well. So basically, there presents an opportunity for those who still have your wildcard now to remove Haaland, spread the funds around, and basically get Haaland back later on when Son or Salah, right, they will go to the AFCON and the Asian Cup respectively. You can downgrade them and then bring Haaland back with their funds. So there is a genuine upside to making this play right now. So what I would say is that for those of you still with your wildcard, and if your teams are in dire situations, there is a good opportunity to use it now. And Game Week 17, as I mentioned, without Haaland, we'll see this draft spreading the funds around in such a way. So looking at the keepers first, the goalkeeper position is one that has been giving us so much headaches the past few game weeks. Clean sheets have been so difficult to predict. So I think for the Game Week 17 wildcard, if I were to use it now, I would just simply go for a very, very cheap keeper in Matt Turner. I'm not going for Dubravka because Dubravka, even though he's pretty cheap as well, he's at 4.1 million. Dubravka is rumored to be nursing a little bit of a hidden shoulder injury, so that maybe can explain why he has not been performing at the level that he can, or the level that we expect him to, right? So he's been conceding a lot of goals and maybe that shoulder injury has been affecting him. So I think Matt Turner at 3.9 will just be a good bench fodder to have, because the main keeper that we're going for is David Raya at 4.9 million. Now the reason why I've gone for him is, firstly, he's definitely nailed to play every single game for Arsenal. As opposed to players like Gabriel, there is more risk where Gabriel could be rested in some games. But for Raya, you're certain that he'll play every game. And for Arsenal's fixtures moving forward, they're really good. Now in Game Week 17, they play Brighton. Game Week 18, they play Liverpool. But after that, that is when everyone would look to bring in the Arsenal defense, because their run of fixtures are really good. So players like Saliba, Gabriel, and the Arsenal attackers will be quite popular as well. But I think since the keeper situation is so difficult to predict, I think I would just go for a 4.9 keeper in Raya, set and forget, and play around with the other outfielders moving forward. So this is what I would go for as a keeper pairing on a Game Week 17 wildcard. So looking at the defense, I've gone with a slightly more expensive defense here in Trent, Saliba, Porro, Livramento, and Taylor. Now the reason why I've done so is because there's no Haaland in this draft, so basically you can afford to go for the more expensive picks, and of course these more expensive picks present higher upside with the attacking threat that they have. So mainly Trent at 8.1, I think there's a lot of talk about whether he is worth his value or not. If you're going without Haaland, I think Trent is the perfect differential to have because he is so attacking and he's basically, you know what you get with Trent. The thing is, on the off chance that Liverpool keep a clean sheet in their upcoming games, there's every chance that Trent hauls, right? So he's been, getting returns in almost every single match for the past 5 to 6 game weeks. So I think Trent will be a really, really good differential for those of you guys on your Game Week 17 wildcard. So I'm going to go with him here, and he does have quite a number of home games coming up despite the slightly tougher opponents. So you never know, sometimes it can be a cagey game and Liverpool could come away with a clean sheet. Alisson is back as well, so that definitely helps. So I'll go with Trent here. For Saliba, it's similar to David Raya as I mentioned, where the Arsenal defense is one that will be very popular in 2 game weeks time. So if you are wildcarding in Game Week 17, I do suggest that you have Saliba in your team to double up on the Arsenal defense basically. And then there's Pedro Porro at 5.4. Now I think Pedro Porro right now is the best defender to own in the game. He's so attacking, he's nailed for 90 minutes, he's pretty much on all set pieces as well. And he's just a really, really great asset to have. I can't really think of a defender or a defensive pick right now that is better than Pedro Porro in terms of minutes, in terms of attacking threat, and potential clean sheets as well. So he's going to be in this team for sure. And in fact, he was one of the first few names in this draft. Now, next up is Livramento at 4.4 million. Now, I still do think like the Newcastle defense is better at home than away from home. And up in the upcoming fixtures, they do have quite a number of home games. The only issue with the Newcastle team is that I feel there are a lot of fixtures in this December period that are causing them to be quite fatigued. So despite the fact that the fixtures are there in the next few game weeks, I will be quite cautious of them. But I think Livramento at 4.4 million is probably quite worth it to go for him in terms of how nailed he is. I think he will be the first choice left back moving forward until Dan Burn comes back. Lewis Hall just does not seem as if he's up to the mark. And for Kieran Trippier, he's suspended in Game Week 17. So Livramento definitely plays now in Game Week 17 as well. So I do like him as a pick, as a cheap entry into the Newcastle defense. And then there's Taylor, who's currently suspended because he's on 5 yellows, but he will come back in Game Week 18. And he's just a bench fodder. Basically, you leave him on the bench, and if you need him, you can just use him. So there we go with the 5 defenders. So in midfield, I've gone for Saka, Son, and Salah. Now these 3 are probably going to be in every single wildcard draft during this period. Arsenal's fixtures, as I mentioned, are really good. Saka on penalties, etc. 90 minutes, you get the drill with Saka. Salah and Son have just been so consistent throughout the whole season. They've been on mega hauls for a number of game weeks already. So they will also be in this draft. So I think the more differential picks in this draft would be Richarlison and Bailey for the midfielders. Now, the template midfield right now, I would say is Saka, Son, Salah, Palmer, and Gordon. But the reason why I haven't gone with both Gordon and Palmer is for separate reasons. Now, for Palmer, he's on 4 yellows. Yes, Chelsea plays Sheffield now in Game Week 17. And yes, he's probably still on penalties, the first choice penalty taker. But I just feel as if he's on 4 yellows, I would probably just wait until he gets that 5th yellow, and then I go for him potentially later on if he starts to pick up form. But right now, the Chelsea team just does not give me a lot of confidence, whether it's in the attack or the defense. I just think they are struggling a little bit right now, and this is coming from a Chelsea fan as well. So I feel like there is good reason to go without Palmer. And the cheaper midfielder that I've gone for in his place is actually Leon Bailey. Now, Leon Bailey, Aston Villa's fixtures are really good coming up. And of course, Leon Bailey has been in and amongst the goals as well. He's kind of regained his starting spot in the first 11. So I still do feel like among the attackers, he's the one with the most flair. He's the most exciting pick, I would say. And I guess you can kind of mirror it to Mahrez from Man City or last time. So that's kind of the vibe that I get from Leon Bailey. He's just a flair player that's really good, and of course he has that shot in him as well that can be really good. So Leon Bailey, I think, is a good differential to have in place of Palmer, at least until he's off 4 yellows. I just wouldn't want to take the risk. And then for Richarlison at 6.6 million, he's also a player that just hauled in game week 16, but this is not a reactionary pick. I still feel like Richarlison at 6.6, when he's fit and starting for Tottenham, which is what is happening now, we just saw him pick up 2 goals in game week 16. And playing the number 9 role, which is likely what he's going to play once he's back now into the team. Son is going to move to the left. Richarlison will be the number 9. A midfielder at 6.6 million, playing in the number 9 role for a team that is so attacking like Spurs, I don't think I can turn down a pick like that if I'm on a wild card now. And I imagine that Richarlison will be very, very popular in a couple game weeks time when Son goes to the Asian Cup. And basically, Richarlison will be a very, very popular pick that everyone will go to. So if I wasn't a wildcard now, I think you may as well just go for Richarlison from the get-go. And who knows, in the next few game weeks where Spurs fixtures are pretty good as well, there's Forest now, Everton in game week 18. I think there's every chance Richarlison keeps up his goal-scoring form after recovering from injury. So there we go with the 5 midfielders. So up front, I've gone with Solanke, Ollie Watkins, and Julian Alvarez. So covering Ollie Watkins first, I myself took him out of my team when he was a doubt to play against Bournemouth. He obviously got 11 points in that game, and the past 2 game weeks he's blanked against Man City and Arsenal, which are slightly tougher fixtures. But now in game week 17, he has Brentford. In game week 18, he plays Sheffield at home, which is a massive game for him. I think that's where he can definitely haul, and he will be a big captaincy option then as well. So I think if you're wildcarding now in game week 17, you just go for Ollie Watkins from now on and just keep him. He feels like a season hold to me if Aston Villa can keep up the form that they are showing right now. As for Julian Alvarez, if you're going without Haaland and if Haaland is going to be out for a while, I think Julian Alvarez becomes a much better pick because he's probably going to be on penalties. He's only at 6.9 million and he's going to be playing the number 9 role pretty much more secured in terms of his minutes. So Julian Alvarez at 6.9 million is definitely someone I would go for on a wildcard without Haaland. Now for Dominic Solanke at 6.6 million, entry into the Bournemouth attack who's been doing so well the past few game weeks. They're on an incredible run. And I think Bournemouth has just been performing at a level that I hope they can keep up. I think the numbers are showing that despite the tougher opponents that they've been playing, the numbers still seem quite consistent in terms of the attacking threat. And of course, Solanke in and amongst the goals, he's 90 minutes, he's a 90-minute man, he's nailed, he's on penalties. And I just feel like the next coming fixtures, which are pretty much home fixtures for Solanke, I definitely feel like he can haul in those games. He plays Luton now in game week 17. He would definitely be in the starting 11 for this team as well. So Solanke, I think, a good differential to have at 6.6 million. And the entire team value that I haven't mentioned for this whole draft is 101.8 million. So for those of you guys who cannot afford this draft, you can, of course, downgrade some players. There are 8 very good attackers in this draft. You could choose to downgrade one of them, maybe Bailey, and just play the other 7 attackers every single game week because they very well could be in this starting 11 for the next couple of game weeks for this draft, right? So depending on the budget that you have, you can make adjustments to this draft, but I think this is a good reference point for those of you on a game week 17 wildcard to start from and then make some adjustments there. So let me know what you guys think of my picks. Are there any players that I'm missing out that you've gone for that I haven't gone for? And what are you doing with your teams as well? Are you using the wildcard in Game Week 17? Let me know down in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found some value in it. If you did, please give it a like and also subscribe as well if you're new around here. Once again, shouting out the Christmas charity drive. You can still subscribe and contribute to the cause. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and I will catch you guys in more Game Week 17 content coming very soon. Bye-bye.